which one are you going to choose? Job versus a business. If you're an entrepreneur, we know that you are busy. Even students right here in the campus are so busy about what's going on in their life. But the real problem with this mindset or with the situation in hand that we have, barely have time with God. I know that we're busy at school, especially me, managing a business and managing school. It's quite a challenge for me. It was hard for me to choose whether to choose between God and business. So everything above God is idolatry. If you put God, then that's the only idol. That's your Lord. Idolatry is not just about sticking to graven images. It's also related to the thing that we desire the most, the thing that we like the most. And that creates a conflict between our relationship between the business and God itself. So you're going to balance between God and the business. These are the choices that you need to consider. But for me, you also have to understand, when do you start or establish a business in the very first place? What really is your value when you are 8 years old and you imagine yourself, you're just spending time with your grandkids? Question is, what do you want them in that age? In 8-year-old, maybe you want some friends, you want a family to spend time with, want financial stability, you want an amazing wife, all of those considerations that you will have. And now that you know your future, your preferred future when you are old, what are the actions that you can do today as young as you are? Maybe to get a better relationship with your family or wife, you have to have the fruit of the Spirit, which is kindness, love. And I didn't really memorize the whole of it, but those are most of the considerations that you need to encompass as well. Sometimes we entrepreneurs tend to go hand in hand. Balance between life and doctrine is kind of hard. It's kind of difficult. I do understand that. But you must know what are the consequences prioritizing business over God. And again, it's idolatry. So even if you're good at time management or discipline, there are times that you will desire more about the business rather than God. It says that we as disciples, we need to deny ourselves. I'm guilty of this. What I'm actually teaching is sometimes there are days that I don't do it most of the time. I want to admit that mistake. And the reason why I'm teaching you this is because I want you to let you realize that your idolatry not only in money, not only in graven images, but it could also be an idolatry in time. You're so disciplined, you're so managing your time so very well, But at the end of the day, what you're actually having an idol from is taking so much security when it comes to your time. I mean, you're so safeguarding your time, you're making it so sacred that it hinders you from making time to God. Like for example, going to church or getting to events that will give you a spiritual growth. So the problem is not God. The problem is not you, but your desire. In the Bible, it talks us about how our heart is deceitful. It may seem that it is right, but it will lead to death. So you can never trust your heart. When it comes to selling, for me, in my instances, I sell to people based on my coaching services. But there are times that I need to white lie when it comes to my credential. But I do understand there's no such thing as white sin or white lies. No matter how small the sin is and how the sin is big, they're practically the same. That might be hindering you on having a relationship with God and going to His kingdom. So that's a trick. Even though that white lies doesn't seem to harm the person but help it more, it's still a lie, and that does not honor God. Being a disciple, you have to be ready to deny yourself. Or that's really hard, but there will be times that it will test you. Are you willing to sacrifice this for God? And it's going to be hard, but there are times where that will happen. I know it kind of sounds very lonely to deny yourself because you want this, but you have to deny that now that you're a Christian. But you have to make a choice. Which one do you love? You have to think wisely. And it's been difficult for me for a very long time, balancing between God or business or the academics in a business. I'm not saying you should be a ministry leader for the rest of your life or 100% pastor or priest. I'm just saying you have to balance it, because there are disciples or followers of Christ who been a doctor and then being a disciple, someone is a tax collector and then a disciple. Just being a balance between the two, it's very important. And I know that God has planned for you. It's not about being a 100% disciple. God gave us multiple talents so that we can heal people, or we can give them their needs when it comes to medicine, or God gave us a talent when it comes to building an entrepreneurship or building an entrepreneurial business, so that we can hire more people or help those people who need jobs, especially the disciples. Don't think about this like you have to sacrifice. According to this Bible, Jesus met this man, and he was following Jesus. Before he even met Jesus, he was following the Bible or the law of commandments by Moses, I think, ever since he was a child. He was so disciplined, and he is ruler of a nation. He has a great amount of power. He's very young and very popular in the community, and he's very handsome, I think. And he bragged this all about Jesus, that he done this and he done that ever since he was a child. And Jesus questioned the man, "You are missing one thing." And then the man says, "What is it?" Jesus said, "You have to sell everything you had." Now the man was so sad, and the reason why he is sad because he wasn't willing to give up his life to Jesus, or he wasn't willing to follow Jesus. We become sad because we are not willing to find or to follow Jesus. So if I'm going to describe you, the definition of being blessed is more about being superlatively happy, being more than happy. And being blessed, being happy gives us peace, which is more valuable than time, which is more valuable than living a 30-year life of luxurious things in this world. The reason why I followed God more than this business, because I know that this life is so temporary, and you never know when you're going to die. You might made it to the future or earn money, but you'll live in this world less. And I found my value. My value is not more about making money, but building relationship with other people, building a nice relationship with a family, or improving my status so that people could love me. It's more about relationships. So I do love speaking. I do love teaching. I do love communicating with people. That really makes me fulfilled rather than just being on a business. Then there's a content creator who's been in the industry for many years, and she eventually quit because she didn't like what she is doing. Like, she was teaching social media marketing, getting clients, getting the business, getting an agency, but in the end she quit. That wasn't her purpose. So you must know your reasons. If your purpose is not to find God, then this video could be irrelevant to you. We have different purposes, but God made us in the very first place. We have different beliefs, and I do respect that. But when it comes to Christianity, it's inclusive and it's applicable to anyone. So one of the things that you might be having a difficulty on, which you prioritize, and that's a sign of idolatry. Maybe I could advise to you is know your priorities, the ways, and how can you balance your time with God. This is either Satan masking as a business, masking as your desire. Satan determines what you love the most and then trick you to pull you away from God. That's a dangerous thing.